Right guys, welcome back to the channel. G440 we've got today at Foresight HQ here in the southeast of England. I've got the LST and the MAX, and we're going to compare the two at Pebble Beach. Free green fee, did well.
Beautiful.
Did very well.
Saving that.
Absolutely. Now, this is going to be a fun one because G430 was so successful, wasn't it?
Probably the driver of 2024, I'd argue, the Max 10K.
100%. So there's no 10K in the lineup for G440 yet. I imagine that'll be next year, maybe. But we've got LST, we've got MAX, we've got SFT as well, which we're not going to do in this video. And they're going for speed, aren't they, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been slightly critical of Ping in the past because they're incredibly forgiving, very easy to hit, but they've been slightly behind on speed versus TaylorMade, Titleist, Callaway.
Yes.
This year, though, looks like they're trying to make up ground.
Indeed, they have changed it up slightly. They have made the face slightly thinner, and also they've pushed the weight, or they added a heavier weight at the back because they've actually made the overall head weight lighter.
Exactly.
Correct?
So yeah, we've
speed,
got
forgiveness.
29 gram back weight here, and in that it can be moved ever so slightly for draw, fade bias, or in neutral.
Yeah, we've got it at neutral. We've also got it set to 8 degrees rather than 9. I'll have the MAX at the same. We've also got a Fujikura Ventus Red 6X. This is going to be fun. I played the G430 LST for a very long time in the last 2 years. I changed drivers as often
Relatively
as
regularly.
I changed my pants. So that's just to go longer than a week with an LST was very good, and it just didn't feel like an LST, but it did feel like an LST, which I'll explain after I hit this, and then we'll go on to the MAX.
Nice little baby draw over that tree.
Oh yes, the money maker.
Just like that, on demand. That is such a good drive.
That's such.
It's gone miles.
That's gone miles.
Pretty good first out the gate shot there, Alex. Let's have a look. 175 ball speed, very nice. Spin 2000,
It's
ideal.
That spin is absolutely absurd.
Launch angle 13. That is, I mean, pick the bones out of that. Efficiency 1.48. That's about as good as it gets, I would say.
That is about as good as it gets for me. Like, you know, it's really cool to hit this club because those numbers I don't think represent what the club is. Like the spin does, it's low spinning bomber. But when I think of a low spinning bomber, I think of TaylorMade, I think of Callaway, and with low spin comes decreased forgiveness, perhaps. I've always loved Ping because I felt like across the face, the spin consistency meant that I was getting low 2 spin, but I didn't have the option of getting 36, 46 spin that we've seen testing other models. Yeah. So that's been really cool with Ping. We've only hit one so far.
Would you say that we've kind of touched on this slightly when you said why you loved the 430 LST? Is it because it's the most forgiving low spin driver out there?
Yeah, exactly that. I think when I have a bad day with a low spinning head, it doesn't become a low spinning head, it becomes a high spinning pushy head, really. Yeah. We've seen that with TaylorMade. I truly think Ping have cracked the lower spinning models by having low spin across the entire face, but not too low spin. I found, what was it? The Paradigm, the first Paradigm triple diamond head, across half of the face was the lowest spin I've ever had, like 1100. Funny, but also like, they can't play this type thing. This is just consistent. Now, is it better than the G430? We'll find out. Stay.
That's probably
you dirty dog.
That's going to be a watery death, I think.
Bounce, 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 bounce. Bloop. Just overturned it slightly. But look, slightly toey. You can kind of see actually that mark.
Spin dropped by about 400.
A smidge.
Yeah.
It's just out to win this let me down there. Good sound and feel. I'll hit one more.
Yeah, sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, 430 sounded good. 425 was like bonk.
Bonk? Yeah.
But it sounds good, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a nice high-pitched crack.
Yes, I really appreciate Ping in the last 3 to 4 years because I feel like they've really taken into account the consumer feedback a little bit more. What everyone's saying, and be like, oh, we actually need to listen to them.
Yeah. We actually haven't even touched on looks yet. Thoughts?
So, I mean, Ping's always going to be different slightly, right? Yeah. They've got the turbulators, we've got this kind of half carbon crown. I'm happy that they continued it. It continues their brand identity. I understand you've got to listen to consumers, but you've also got to be your own person type thing, especially for brands. I wouldn't want them to take that out because it is Ping's DNA. And look, I really like it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
How nostalgic is the sole design? What does that make you think of? G30, G series driver. They've gone back to the blue. When the USGA photos came out of this driver, I was like, oh god, that looks a bit boring. In hand, it looks class.
It looks lovely.
Yeah,
it really does. I was never one to actually play a G30 or anything before that.
I used it for a long time.
Did you?
Yeah.
So I didn't get that much nostalgia
It's
from
the
it.
blue that makes it look very, very similar.
Yeah, and look, I think people were always expecting Ping to go crazy, do something different, but it's not them.
I mean, they always keep it pretty standard. You've got the big Ping logo normally straight through the middle.
Yeah.
But as you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly, and there's no need to change up and
reinvent the wheel, so to speak. Yeah.
Some brands think, let's make the shelf amazing, make it go crazy off like the shelf. So you look at, you know what, that is what attracts you to the logo, the name. If they do that, they're going to lose their identity. So I'm happy for Ping to continue like that, even when it goes to G100. Like, keep that there. Off the toe. Shit. No, we're not.
What I think is quite interesting with Ping as well is that you look at other brands. So TaylorMade, we had Sim, then we had Stealth, now we've got QI. You look at Callaway, we've had all sorts of different ones. We had Maverick, Rogue, that are Ping had G for a long, long time now. I think we'd probably have to go back into like the early 2010s. Maybe even before then, before it became G. Yeah. And the consistency of that, I think, really does speak to consumers as well. Like, you know exactly what you're going to get. It's just a new iteration. Exactly. Yeah, and like, even you look at irons, like we've had quite a few iterations of P790 now, and they've been incredibly popular. And Ping has stuck with G, and it's been incredibly popular with good reason.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not easy to stick with that. Like, some of the G range did not get received well. I don't think G425 was received that well because of the sound. Yeah. G410 was received well. G400 was received well, but
G400 was fantastic.
Was very good. Yeah, but they could have like a marketing committee or engineering team like, let's change it. Yeah. Let's make it H or something like that. But to stick with it and now looking at it, I think they've got it right. They've got that plan. They've got the blueprint right. 2 years makes a lot of excitement. Release it on tour a little bit early. Seed it better. Yeah. So I think it's very hard for Ping to make a bad driver.
I would say, in terms of consistency, they have been the best
100%
wood brand for the last 10, 15 years. Yeah,
agreed. Oh, that's lovely.
Great drive.
So consistent.
It's a really nice flight as well.
It really is. It does feel, we're working in like really small amounts here. That's fast as well. It's 177. Yeah. Smashes up. We're working in very small amounts and we're thinking of the differences to G430. It's not going to be massive, it never is. But I'm noticing just the sound and feel being a little bit improved. And that's one thing I think is good for them to move slightly away from that identity of donk. It'd be interesting,
It'd be interesting to see if we get the time to do a speed comparison between that and, say, the 425 LST, just to see how much of an uptick there has been. 100%. Because obviously the actual... The core value, the speed from the centre hasn't been able to change for a long time, but from out of the perimeter of the club, in seeing if that has actually had a bit of an uptick in the last kind of 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, that's the best of the lot.
That's going to go miles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's carried an extra...
305.
It's carried an extra 10, 15 yards.
Fastest ball speed of the day. So we've been testing, we've tested TaylorMade, Callaway. The fastest ball speed so far is the one that everyone says is the slowest. That's
what do we know, eh?
Yeah.
Well done, Ping. I have to say, that's very impressive.
And I tell you what, I don't think I've been as impressed with an LST model for quite some time for just the consistency of it. I thought that I knew what driver was going in my bag a few hours ago. The only thing is I always have this with Ping, I don't know why. If you look at my strike location, it's just slightly on the toe. But that makes it even more impressive that these numbers are 1.48, 1.47 smash. And you can see my strike marks are just there. Could move it more upright maybe, but actually they don't offer that in the hosel. They're always flat. Anyway, let's move over to the Max. I don't think the Max will be for me. We're going to loft it down. That being said, it will probably be, we'll see what happens. We'll see the difference. Okay, so we have got the Max in my hand, also got the LST on the floor, just to have a look at the difference in overall profile. And although there is slight difference in weight, 2 grams, which changes the swing weight by 1 from, is it D3 to 4. All I can see in terms of the profile is that the Max looks slightly longer, which that's one of the sharpened up right now. I think it's more elongated.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually remarkable considering you compare this Ping range to likes of TaylorMade,
Yeah.
and the difference is far less stark.
Yeah. Which is good and bad.
Yeah.
It's good and
10cc smaller.
Yeah.
The LST than the Max.
Yeah. Let's see how it performs.
Hello.
Lovely.
So we're already seeing that's probably going to be slightly higher spin, isn't it?
Yeah. Hit it well.
Hey, still carried like what, 296
You
there?
say higher spin, not really. Yeah, carried 305.
Interesting. Let's
So-
look at ball
so
speed.
yeah, so
Okay,
they
so
carry
you've
305.
dropped a fair amount of ball speed there.
Fair amount. That was a good hit as well. Just excuse me for 1 second whilst I put a sticker on it as well. That was so nice.
That's gorgeous.
Why am I hitting drivers so well? So that's 307 carry.
Okay, so what, 311 we average for the LST?
Yeah. So that's a good memory.
Okay, so 172's just ticked up. That's nice. Spin 2.5. I mean, these are really good numbers. Efficiency 1.47.
not even that difference.
No,
spin.
there's not
No.
a huge difference.
Which is making me.
It's all the same tech. It's worth pointing out.
Yeah.
Again, we've got the 29 gram head weight at the back. Head weight's been reduced slightly in order to accommodate that.
Yeah.
Thinner face.
Thinner face. Come on.
Oh, Alex has got this on a string.
I could be in trouble here, boys. That wasn't the best strike in the world. That was a bit tougher.
Carried a lot further though.
317 carry.
317 carry. I mean, when we've kind of looked at the performance of a couple of drivers so far, there's always been maybe like one or two things we've been able to pick out and be like, oh, okay, maybe we'd like to see like that.
Nothing.
Everything across the board here has been
Nothing.
bang on.
I am.
You've got this on a string. It's fair to say. I think this is probably the best. We've hit a few drivers today, as you might recognise from the setting, but this is the best I think you've hit a driver today.
Yeah, and for someone who took genuinely 5 months ago in August, getting fit for a driver, I had to sit myself down and not near tears, but genuinely quite upset by how bad I was at golf and driving the golf ball.
I mean, only a month ago when we did the Cobra video,
I couldn't hit.
I had to step in.
Golf. Yeah, I had an emergency test to come in because I couldn't hit a ball.
Again, beautiful.
Just
I mean,
slide.
fractionally right, but
Was actually probably one of my better swings. 307 carry, 2400 spin.
and what we're seeing at the moment is just some really, really good consistency
I
as
was
well.
going to say that the word consistency has never been uttered about me in my life.
But everything we're seeing at the moment is kind of bang on the money.
It's.
These spin rates, I mean, so that's
good.
ticked up slightly.
I think the spin's about 2500.
25, but I see, we've dropped barely any spin.
Yeah.
Ball speed up at 172.
It's alarmingly good. Last one.
Okay,
That was weird.
that's
That's a shame.
peeled off slightly. It's in someone's house.
I actually thought that was a good swing. But, so that was probably a swing path fault. I didn't actually see the yeah, okay. So I stepped on that a little bit. I obviously launched a little bit high. That spin's still staying low, which means it's carrying really far. I thought the LST would knock this out the water, and yet I'm looking at this being like, that's playable as well. I found the Max before wasn't playable for me because of the spin.
Yeah.
Whereas that...
Very playable.
Yeah, let me just get the iPad and show everyone the official numbers. So the club speed, which I think is actually important to mention, is 0.2 mile an hour faster with the LST.
Okay.
That probably is, as stupid as this sounds, that probably is those 2 grams.
Yeah, could well be.
I'm not a robot, but I think I've probably the best I've ever hit 5 balls.
I mean, that was 5 with each really middled. Yeah.
Yep. Ball speed 2 mile an hour slower with the Max.
Yeah, that kind of
which
makes
again
sense.
makes sense because you've got to think weight at the back.
Yeah.
You're not going to be as aerodynamic. You're not going to get as much smash factor, and that is the case. Smash factor at 1.46 with the Max, 1.47 with the LST. Hit them both quite well. Launch angle again, 12.6 with the LST, 13.4 with the Max. Nothing wrong with that. Now usually is where the spin lets me down with the Max. If it got up to 3,000 or so, spin rate 24.81 with the Max, whereas 21.32 with the LST. Some could argue that could be too low.
You could. I mean, based on what we've seen, though, from yours,
No.
it was absolutely spot on.
Yeah, and then carry 308.1 with the Max, 311.2 with
That is all just absolutely bang on
and
for everything.
And if I when you look at the standard deviation below these tables here, it's ridiculous. And there's one number here that is mind-blowing, and for me, it's the spin rate.
Yeah.
The efficiency of the spin rate, the deviation of the LST, the standard deviation is 198, which means it's going up and down 200 spin. The standard deviation with the Max is 199. I remember a video a while back of John Rahm testing out a driver by, maybe it was a Paradigm, I think it was a Paradigm, and he hit 10, 20 drivers and they were amazed by his consistency of spin rate, and it was between 300 or 400, I think it was.
Yeah, so that's pretty
200.
incredible.
The spin consistency, the consistency of these drivers. I always come back to Ping every so often after changing it for no reason.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is such a good driver. It's probably the best driver that everyday golfers should use. I stand by that again. I really do.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say that this is the most impressive driver lineup we've seen so far this year?
Yeah. I think no driver is a bad driver this year, categorically. But we've had reservations about some things so far. I don't have a single fault to give Ping.
Looks, feel, performance.
Yeah.
Bash.
And that's model to model too.
Yeah.
Like, TaylorMade is amazing, but I think the LS is a bit... Callaway, great. Shelf appeal. Ping's just smashed it again.
Yeah.
And there's not much more to say to that. There's more testing to be done. The video I cannot wait to do is TaylorMade versus Ping, because I think TaylorMade just won Callaway versus TaylorMade. Now it's trying to find out what's best out of this one, and that's what will probably tell me which one to go in my bag.
Yeah.
So that'll be very, very enjoyable. Guys, let me know what you think about the new G440 range. It might not blow you away from shelf appeal, but it will blow you away from the performance. Yeah. It really has for me, for someone who is not a particularly good driver for consistency, almost showed me that I can actually play some decent golf. So I wish I could do it on the course.
You can.
We'll see. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Johnny, thank you for being here today as well. We've got plenty more videos to come. Until then, we will catch you later.